Hello friends, welcome to part 4 of this Burny Les Paul Custom 1983. And the last part of the video ended a little bit skew with because I was halfway through a job. And you see the guitar is still on the neck jig. I've just been across, checked all of the frets and they are level. I've been across with a fret rocker, so now I can remove this from the jig, which is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to bring it over to the setting up table, which is this one right here, and we are going to crown the frets. Now what I'm going to do first is I'm going to let loose. We're still zeroed out, by the way, on these dials. Don't know if you can see from there. Absolutely brilliant. Meaning that the neck of the guitar did not move at all while we're doing the fret level. I'm going to remove the restraints like so, unclip and let it out. Because then I can do the fret leveling on the setup bench. So this is part 4, but like I say, part 3 ended a little bit skew with because that's not looking right. Because I was halfway through part 1 process, but I'd already got to 29 minutes because I'm filming so much more nowadays than I used to in the past. But here's the guitar. I'm going to bring it over to this table. We're going to get the neck rest there, and the guitar is now here, which is great. It's going to be a lot easier to work on the frets. You'll see I have penned, got marker pen on the tops of all the frets to make it easier to crown. I'm going to crack on with crowning. I'm then going to move over to the polishing table. I'm going to get them polished. I don't know what I'm going to film with it. I've already filmed a big chunk of the electrical work I was doing, and I've had to replay. If you remember, well, I don't know, you don't remember because I haven't done it yet. So I will be sticking that part of the video, or that part of the series, in this video as well. So stay tuned. Right, I've finished the crowning of the frets and I'm now going to move it over to the polishing table. I just have to shape the edge of these bevels just to remove any burrs. Now I've done the crowning, and for that I will use a Swiss number 4 cut file, very fine cut, and it's just a matter of getting into these bevels here and just sliding over, just 3 strokes, one there and one in the middle. I'll be arcing over each time just to remove these tiny little burrs off the edges, and then we'll just polish better. Then I'm going to move over to the polishing table. Polishing I'm going to do later. I'm going to move on to wiring up the electrics now. I've already filmed the work I've done on the electrics because I've redone the loom, I've redone the pickups and everything. There's a little bit more to add on to that, but the next part of the video you will see will be a pre-recorded video I made last night when I was working on the electrics. So enjoy that part, and I'll be back once the electrics are done. I will come back and show you how we got on with the polishing, and we can start getting the guitar all back together. Right, this part of this video is I'm going to film this separate from the rest of the Burny guitar because I'm doing the electrics, and what I'm doing is I've stripped back the pickups because the wiring, I was really not happy with it, and I've done the same here, stripped it all back. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tidy this area up. I'm going to remove quite a bit of this shielding because it's really untidy, and what I'll do is I'm going to remove this wire. These 2 wires are a bit too thick. I've got some really thin stuff, pretty much the same as this gubbins here, proper gear. I'm going to cut that back. There's also this stripped here, there's a hole in the red there. I'm going to basically go back over that, put another piece of shrink wrap tubing over there. I've got a bag full of shrink wrap tubing, all different thicknesses, we've got plenty there. I'm going to tidy this area up. Once it's tidied up, I'm going to shrink wrap the whole lot again and just leave these 2 wires bare. There won't be any splitting done. We'll have a black as the earth, red as the hot on that one, and I will probably do exactly the same with this. I'll strip this right back and I'll do a red and a black again. That way we're not going to get in trouble. What I might do is I might stick a blue wire and a black on there. We can have a blue as a hot wire on the neck pickup and red as a hot wire on the bridge pickup, and both of the black ones are going to be the earth. So they're pretty easy to do. Also with the wiring here, I've got a lot of tidying up to do here. I'm going to get a nice hot soldering iron on there. I'm going to get all this crap off the whole lot. I'm going to put a new piece of copper all the way around. Follow where this is. Do a big U shape all the way around there, but I'll do it round the outside. And I'll also slightly turn the pots to make them work better toward each other. I mean, I would think if I've got the, I kind of like this kind of scenario. That kind of scenario there is pretty good for me. Where we are that way. The earth wires on the lugs are okay, but obviously lugs 1 and 3 on here are going to need tidying up a lot. We'll get as much of that horrible solder off as we can. We'll tidy these up. Like I said, I'm going to use the same pots again. And what I will do is I will get some service salt switch cleaner in there. So I'm going to get my trusty soldering iron out. I'm going to have a go at these first, get them tidied up. And I'll come back and show you the result of that shortly. And then we will... These threads aren't long enough to get right through this little jig. I always make a little jig. This is one I've had for a while, or for Les Pauls, just to get the pots where you want them. So I was not able to fasten them at the top, but you know, I'll get around that. We're in pretty tight anyway. So are these push-pull pots or not? I thought they were, but they're not. No, they're just normal pots. A little bit loose on stems, but still we do move a bit. So that's it. The capacitors are fine as they are. I would be going with a vintage or the 50s wiring anyway, so we'll wire capacitors that way. That's going to work pretty well. But these big wires, these big copper wires that are in my way, I'm going to remove all that. Solder, I could probably leave on there. All the CTS pots, it doesn't say. I don't know what pots they are. Japanese, I don't know. What do the Japanese manufacturers use? I'm not sure. Anyway, doesn't matter. I'm going to crack on, and this piece of video will be inserted inside probably the final part of the video. I now have all of the cleanup done. You might find it hard to believe this is the same gubbins. Pickups. I now have a neck pickup here. That's the new wire I've put on there. Everything's insulated. We will get that through the cavity. A little bit fatter there than I wanted it to be, but it's okay because it's neck. I'll put a blue wire for the hot, black for ground. That's going to work fine. The bridge one didn't take much tidying up, and I've gone the same. Well, I've got similar. Gone. Ground is black, hot is red. Lot tidier than they were, so they're going to work absolutely fine. The pots, cleaning the pots up was took quite a while, but you see I've put a new ground wire. There you go, let's see which way we're going to go on that. I think we're going to go that way. Will it be that way? Might be that way. Anyway, whatever, whichever way it is. Clean the pots up the best I can. That wire that's going across all the pots I've removed. I've put a wire all the way round the outside. There's a lot of time. I managed to get a lot of the solder off the back of the pots. Pots still work fine. I haven't had to touch the capacitors, but I have cleaned up the solder, the excess solder that was on the lugs. Okay, it's not super pretty, but it is a lot better than it was. So that's going to make my job a lot easier. All I've really got to do now is make the wiring loom for the 3-way switch, which I'll probably have to do inside the cavity anyway. But I shall get that routed through as well. I will do that job tomorrow. Danny will be coming for the guitar Friday afternoon, I imagine. So got all day tomorrow to get it done and do final setup Friday morning. So that is all the electrics done. If you remember, I had the whole loom to clean up and the pickup wires to redo. So that's done. I've burnt my finger. 470 degrees Celsius, by the way, so that's going to smart. I've been under the tap, but it's hurting now, and it's going to hurt quite a lot more later, I should imagine. Maybe it'll blister. Oh well, I'm sure it will survive. So I'm now on Operation Cleanup. Just turning my WEP solder station down. What a great piece of kit this has been. So far I paid £32.99 for it, I believe. It's same as a Yiwa or whatever. WEP 937D plus soldering station. Working absolutely fine. Really can't fault it at the moment. But that's it. That's the electrical parts done, and well, the loom done. We'll look at getting them back in the guitar once I've finished the frets and everything tomorrow. So good stuff. Right, I have cleaned up the pots best I can, and they may look a lot better now than they were, and they are a lot better now than they were, but the problem with this is I've had to use that much heat to get all the big massive blobs of solder off, but two of them have had it, being the two ones with the big capacitor on, which are the 223. These bottom two here seem to sweep fine. So these two I'm going to have to replace. Now I don't know what pots they are, just listen. Here we click, should be clicking, and here. I think some solder's got in there probably, and it's knackered the sweep. So these two I'm going to have to replace. Now luckily I've got two vintage CTS pots in there, which I'm not keeping, or I'm not using, because they don't look the same. They are measured, that's 504 k ohms, that's 500, or whatever it is, 500k. I do have a set of Bourne's 500k audio pots. I'd imagine those pots already in there are all audio pots anyway. So I'm going to replace with two of these. Now these are my favourite. These are my favourite pots anyway. They've got a beautiful sweep to them. The short stem the same, and the sweep on them, it just glides. It's so beautiful. Like I say, my favourite pots. I'm going to stick two of them in there. Can't avoid that. I'm hoping the other two pots in there are okay anyway. But if not, I have four of these Bournes. You know, maybe we could replace the whole lot. I don't know. But let's see how we get on by replacing these two. I will wire this loom outside of the guitar and check everything is working alright before I put it in the guitar. There's no worse than sticking in the guitar and finding out it's not quite right. I hate using old pots. I hate reusing them. The thing is, they were working okay in the guitar. The thing is, you saw the state of them. So let me get that repaired and we'll see where we are. So we'll now see that I've replaced these two pots for two Bourne's ones. I personally might replace all four. I think it's definitely worth replacing the lot, but we'll see. I'll get it wired in and see how everything works. Make sure we've got no crackle or anything anywhere, but don't they just look a lot better? And also, isn't my soldering a lot tidier than this down here? You know, when we're doing wiring looms, I like to do a complete fresh one. But these are two Bourne's audio pots. They're my favourite pots. I always used to use CTS vintage pots. What have we done with them? Here we go. The G450s, I believe they are. G450s got nothing to do with the rating. They are 500 k ohm or 500 ohm. And these are the vintage CTS. And these are quite expensive. They're about £9 each now. And I always used to use them. They're great. But the problem is, if you've got push-pull knobs or you're pushing them in from the top, they tend to burst these old-in class here and burst through them. That's really not very good. Oh, whereas the Bourne's one, they hold tight, they hold steady. They're really well made, and the sweep on them is amazing. So this one, you've got two different, you're going to have two. Which one's going to be the, I believe this is going to be the tone. Let me think of which way this is going on. I believe they're the I'm not tone neck. I believe they're for the neck and they're for the bridge. I'm going to check how this was configured. Check back. Go watch some older videos when I started on this. Find out which of these go where, because one's going to be for volume, one's going to be for bridge, one's going to be for neck pickup. So we're going to get slight variations, but you've got different value capacitors. That's a 0.015 and that's a 0.022. Now the 0.15 normally goes on, is it the bridge? I'll have to go and check and find out. I still think that'd look a lot better with four Bourne's pots. I'm going to end this part of the electrics right here because this is pretty much straightforward after this, after the three-way, and this is all going to be a part I'm going to insert into the final part of the video. But I'm going to end the electrical part right here, right now, because then I can send this over to Dana and he can have a look at it and decide what he wants to do, whether he wants to change anything. So that's it. But this part of the video, this electrical part, will be integrated into the final video. So regarding the wiring, I've kind of hit the jackpot because I was looking at the old wiring, and this was from the input jack, which goes the input jack the earth from a three-way switch, and this will go all the way through the guitar body to the three-way switch, one being the earth, one being the hot. Well, the white wire is going to be the hot, black wire is going to be the earth, so I can wire that. Also, if you remember when I rewired the pickups, I gave one hot wire, I made one red, which was already red, and I made the other one blue, with not even remembering that there was a piece of wire already in there, one red, one blue, and these will come from the volume pots all the way up to the three-way. So it's already this is already pre-configured. So now I've got this done. Well, I've got these from the old wiring anyway. I have the pickups rewired, and I have the loom, which is already in the guitar, which, if I show you, fits beautifully. I know it's upside down, but it fits beautifully. So we've made a good job there. The two Bourne pots are going there at the top. I'm going to do all the rewiring after I've polished the frets, and whether I film it or not is another thing, but for all intents and purposes now I will consider this rewiring part of a video done. So next time you come back and check again, this bit would have all been pasted into part 4, and we can have a look at how I got on with the polishing and getting all these electrics back in. And there we are, folks, with the frets all polished. Just come off the polishing bench over there, and I don't know where you can see. They are absolutely beautiful. More or less lost track of the amount of time I've spent on this. At a guess, I would say we're up to about 14 hours now. Polishing and frets took me a couple of hours, a lot of work, makes your fingers sore and all. Gone through 5 or 6 grades of paper, gone through 800 grit, 1000, 1200, 1500, 2000, 2500, 6 grits of paper. Finished off with the finest steel wool, super fine grade 0000. They look amazing, they look even better once I've took this tape off. So what remains to be done now? I've also got to fit the electrics, which I'm going to do in a minute. Get this done. I'll get that done today. It's hard to put a time on how long these jobs take. I mean, I've been in this workshop since about 9 o'clock this morning, and I've been here about just over half the time, and I've got 9 o'clock this morning, it's 5 o'clock now, so 8 hours I've been in here. So I've done at least 4 hours work on this guitar today. I would say overall it's at around about 14 hours. You know, quite a lot of work. You never realise how long it's taking you, because you're just into it and you're doing it. So what have I got to do now? Well, get the electrics in, rewire the new loom. I think I've got a diagram for a vintage wiring. If not, I'll go and have a quick look at one on Google. Get this all wired up. Put a new three-way in there. We don't have a gold one, it's got to have a silver chrome one. Danny's not bothered about that as long as the guitar works. So we'll whiz that in there. Got all the knobs in there. Where is the three-way? Where it is. Here it is. Three-way in there. Blah blah blah. That's going to go in. Like I say, using the old wiring. So that's it. Get the wiring put in, get the tape off, get the wiring put in, get the pickups put back on, and get some strings on it and get it done. So that's it. I'm going to crack on. I'll come back and show you how we got on in a bit. I'm going to give you a quick look now. I've removed the tape. Obviously I still need to clean up the fingerboard, but there you go. Brand new frets, 2.4mm by 1.4, 18% nickel silver by Hosco, Japanese. I think that looks really nice, but we're not done yet. Plenty more to do. Need to cut the nut, get a nut on there, get all the electrics in, get some cleaner on this fingerboard, get it all cleaned up, get rid of all the residue. So I'm going to go across with a bit of a little bit of white spirit just to clean up all the residue of the tape. Then we'll get some lemon oil into the some mineral oil in there, and get it cleaned up, get it all put back together. I'm just about to glue the nut into this guitar. The nut I've gone with is, I always go with Tusk. Man-made ivory. Or man-made bone. It's like new bone and Tusk, made by Graphtech. It's not real Tusk, not real ivory, not real bone. It's a man-made substance, self-lubricating. Costs round about £10. Maybe in America around about $10. We pay a bit more over here. There's the one I've chosen. It's a TUSQ 6000. That's the one. virtually a direct fit for a Gibson type guitar. I've had to carve just the edges off, just to make this, probably have to take off 1/2 mil off the width just to make it fit, and I've shaped it slightly. And I'm going to show, I mask off the areas of the guitar, that side, this side, and there, because I'm going to fix, no, I've filed slightly slot, but not too slight. I don't want it super straight, because I've started gluing these in with epoxy, and they're really flat, and this is a really good fit. In fact, it just sits in there, but I've started gluing them in with epoxy, and sometimes you get a little gap underneath. I'm not worried about a gap underneath, because epoxy is going to fill that in, and it might look a little bit untidy. Keep dropping it, second time I'll drop that. But I will fill that in with some bone dust once it has set. There is the nut. It's sat in there. It's a nice fit, that. Very nice fit. Sat in the middle there. There you go. Just so I can show you there. It's going to be higher than I need it to be, but it's going to be. It's not really a gap, to be honest with you. See it there? It's just the way it sits. I will fill that in with some bone dust, like I say, and a little dab of super glue later, and you're not going to see the join. Now, it might be a different story if we ever need to remove that nut later on, or somewhere down the years. Might not be much fun. I'm wondering if this nut is actually going to be, I might have to stick a thing under there, shim, because that looks like it might be cut a little bit too low. Might have blobbed out here, might have dropped a bollock, so to speak. Not really liking the look of that. I'm going to do a dummy run with some strings on and see where we are. If it's okay, we'll be good. Well, I've got to hold my hands up and say, look, I made a mistake, and I've made a mistake, and the nut I've bought is too low. The slots are too low. Look there. The strings are just about touching the first fret. The middle strings are about 0.1 millimetre. There's about 0.1 millimetre gap between the fret and the bottom of the string. It's too low. It's my mistake. Obviously I will put up the expense for the new nut. I'm going to have to go and order a new nut, which means this guitar is not going to be ready tomorrow like I wanted it to be, and it was meant to be. I've let Danny know, I've apologised. I said, look, it's really my fault, you know, but one of these things, you don't fit a nut till the end. And I assumed it'd be high enough because I've always used these on Gibson type guitars before, but I was wrong. I hold up my hands. I have to go and look and make sure I get the right nut again next time. I'll measure the string height from the slot. So hold my hands up. I'm going to go and order a new nut right now. It's not going to arrive till next week now, so this guitar is not going to be done tomorrow. But I'll carry on working on it. I'll get all the electrics in, get all the pickups and everything tested, get a new nut ordered, and we'll come back and we're going to have to finish this one next week. Right, I know I said next time you see this guitar it'll likely be all strung up with the electrics in and everything. Well, that's not turned out to be true. It's got a little bit belly up, and the reason it's gone belly up is not so much as a problem with electrics, but I decided because of not past mistakes, but because of what's happened in the past when I've put wiring back in a guitar and wired it in while it's in the guitar, then you get there and it's not worked. I decided to start doing wiring everything outside of the guitar, and it's exactly what I've done this time. And just so I can test everything outside of the guitar. Now the only problem with this is you've got no ground, you've got no earth, so you are going to get a little bit of buzz, but we're not going to let that worry us. I'm going to turn on the amp, and there you go, yeah, that little bit of buzz. So I've got it all wired up, everything's all fine. There's the new pots I put in. I'm going to just zoom in. I'm going to explain something here in a minute as well. The two brand new pots are the two at the bottom. These two, and they look tremendous. And I've just put a little bit of solder there because I'm doing it all outside the guitar, because I'm going to have to desolder this again to get it in the guitar. And everything is on full, both volumes are full, both tones are full, blah blah blah. And to prove that, what I will do is I will take a small screwdriver and I will tap on the pickups. This is the bridge pickup, brilliant, neck pickup. Pickup selector is in the middle. Let's just put it on just the bridge pickup, which I believe is there. Neck pickup is off. There you go. Then we'll go on just the neck pickup. Neck pickup Brilliant, bridge pickup, off. Fantastic, so everything's working. So I'll put it back on both. Alright, now what we'll do is we'll turn both tones down all the way. That pot's crackling, there's a reason for that in a minute. That's a tone all the way down on both, and let's put a volume down on both. Volume down, volume down. So we have to tell you everything's working now. Everything is working, bar this pot is clicking again. It's not working right. This one is working right. But what I've decided to do is, and I did mention this earlier in the video, is I am going to replace these two pots as well. I did have 4 Bourne's pots in stock, so I'm going to replace these two with 2 more Bourne's. I'll keep the capacitor and I'll rewire, check again, and we'll have 4 brand new Bourne's pots. Now I think you'll agree that the new pots look brilliant. There you go, they're the new ones. I've got 2 more in stock, might as well do it. I'm charging him £7.50 per pot, which 4 pots is going to make £30, that is it. No extra labour, no nothing. I get these, I think I pay about £7 for them, so I'm really charging him cost for them. I'm charging him around 30 quid. I've also let him off some money when I did the extra wiring on these pickups. So I just think it's better all round. With this one just sticking a bit, and what's happened there is, this lug inside, when it was over soldered before, we had massive blobs of solder on. What it's done is it seeped in this hole here, those little holes, and it seeps in and it builds up inside, and then when you turn the resistor, it catches on the bottom. That's what causes that click. Listen. Really not very good. I will have to get that out and clean it up, but I'm not going to get it out, clean it up and put it back in the guitar because they're not perfect anyway. Let's go with 4 perfectly brand new pots and let's do it properly. So that is it for now. Back soon. Right, I nipped off for a spot of lunch, come back, got olive oil all down my t-shirt, as I do. And I've got the electrics all in, pickups are in. See if I can just turn that round enough so you can have a look. 3-way, blah blah blah, pick up all the wiring in there. Don't want to move it much more, don't hit the window with the edge. There you go, you can have a look there. Relatively neat, well really quite neat. Everything's working fine. Everything. By everything I mean both tones, both volumes, all working fine. Pickup selector's working fine. Absolutely bang on, all that remains to be done now is I need to finish cutting the nut. It's already glued in. It's a bone nut. You remember I put a Graphtech nut in there and it was too low, so I went and bought some. I bought some slabs of bone. And I'll tell you what, these takes some shaping and cutting. Crikey, I can tell you. Especially when you're doing it by hand with files and sandpaper. That's how it started out. Blah blah blah, mega high. That's how it's more or less what it's going to end up. Pretty good. Still got a bit more work to do on that. Do it all by hand. Once that's done, we can get some strings on, get the covers back on, get the pick guard back on, and this will be ready to go once it's strung up and tested. So yeah, looking pretty good now. So let's crack on now and back with final update shortly. And here we are, the guitar is all done. Hand cut nut on there, cut from a bone blank. Took me a good couple of hours, that did, easy. Because it's really tough stuff to work with. It stinks when you cut it. So just to recap what this guitar has had, it came in for a refret. It's had a complete refret, it's had a new nut, it's had all the electrics overhauled, it's had 4 brand new Bourne's A500 audio pots, complete rewire. I also extended the wire and cleaned it up on the pickups, put a new 3-way in there. And there were some divots on frets 2, 4 and 6, or between frets 2, 4 and 6. This, which I replaced. I wasn't commissioned to do that, but I replaced them anyway. I extended the wire on the pickups. Did I just mention that? I think I did. So that's it. It's had a complete rewire, a complete refret. Didn't have any accidents. Didn't cut through any binding. We did remove the nibs. Fret wire we've gone for is Hosco, which is Japanese 18% nickel silver, 2.4mm wide by 1.4mm high. That will give us redressers down the line somewhere. Like I said, bone nut cut by hand. All pretty well done. So that's it. That's this project. The guitar is heavy. This has got me £10 a guitar here. Proper good weight. Burny Custom, pre-lawsuit because of the headstock shape on there. Absolutely beautiful guitar. So that's it. It's another one done. Bare knuckle pickups in there, by the way. I've had it plugged in. It sounds amazing. It's a fantastic sounding Les Paul. Really, really good guitar. So Dan is going to be, I'm sure he's going to be really pleased to get this back. So I'm going to call him now, let him know it's ready, and that's it. Project finished. So, as always, till next time, boys and girls, be good to each other, and I will talk to you soon.